Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well, even though Mercury's retrograde. Need I say more? Welcome to my May 2023 astrological overview. Want to remind you, a little plug here. Want to remind you that my long-awaited It's in the Cards. It's a card reading book for astrology students, although you do not have to know astrology to be able to use this method. It's easy, and if you are a professional astrologer, this can give you the shortcut to the yes/no questions that your clients are going to ask. You know how it is. They sit down for the reading and they have a simple question, maybe a mundane question. And it can involve love, it can involve money. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. And they have a specific yes/no question. I show you in this book how to get a quick yes or no answer for a yes/no question. And lots and lots of other goodies. So I hope and those of you who already have it, I hope you're enjoying it. All righty, now let's talk. Well, Mercury's retrograde, have you noticed? Some people are wondering why it's hard to put, 5 words together in a simple sentence. Our favorite scapegoat, of course, is Mercury retrograde. And it is going to stay retrograde until the 14th, when it moves into the shadow of the retrograde. And it will be out of the shadow of the retrograde on May 31st. If you want to make a big calendar, put it up on your wall and scratch off the days, I understand. So that's one thing that's going on. The other is eclipses. Oh my goodness. First of all, as you know, eclipses occur traditionally in pairs. Excuse me. We are so pollinated here in Atlanta. It's ridiculous. Last month we had an eclipse, and of course we've already had that eclipse. You say, well, it's over. No, the effects of an eclipse last until the next pair of eclipses come along. They're at their peak 3 to 4 months after they occur. Sometimes we experience an eclipse that for us is a new life experience. And so I call those new life eclipses because they are. Not only do we feel them, the normal time, a week or so before they actually occur, but they can last up to 2 years. And this is very, very exciting because it gives you a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance. It's another chance is the way I look at it. So if you have a couple of new life eclipses, meaning anytime you have an eclipse that falls on your sun, your moon, or your ascendant, that's considered a new life eclipse. What orb do I use on my eclipses? 5 degrees. So let's say an eclipse is in 15 degrees of any sign. You would allow a 5-degree orb before and a 5-degree orb afterwards. So if you had a planet that was in 10 degrees of a sign and it was in aspect to the eclipse degree, you would count that. It's not going to necessarily be right on the degree the eclipse is in. So you give it 5 degrees before that and 5 degrees after that. Very exciting time. Okay, so I'm going to go back and just kind of touch into last month's eclipse because, and then of course I'll do this month's eclipse naturally, but I want to remind you, when we had this eclipse at the end of April, shortly thereafter, Mercury went retrograde. So it was kind of a double whammy, wasn't it? Some of you I know felt it very, very strongly. So last month, April, on the 20th, we had an eclipse. And when I say we, I mean the entire world. The world had an eclipse in 29 degrees, 50 minutes of Aries. That means it was 10 minutes away from 0 Taurus. So if you have anything in the 29th degree in your birth chart or 0 degrees, and once again, with a 5-degree orb on either side, it can go up to 5 of Taurus or back to 25 degrees of Aries. Okay, that was the first eclipse. All righty. It was on a new moon. Swell. This month, May, we have an eclipse on the full moon. It's in 15 degrees Scorpio. All right. I'm going to go over this with you when I go through my videos on each of the signs. I'll do the new moon and the full moon. And in May, the full moon is a lunar eclipse. So those eclipses will be lined up. Once again, they are going to last until the next 2 eclipses come along, which are both in October. And remember that these springtime eclipses are going to be at their peak 3 to 4 months after they occur. So this month, May, we have the full moon lunar eclipse, 15 degrees of Scorpio on May 5th. And this will be standing out in your chart. Then our new moon is in 28 degrees Taurus on May 19th. And I'll go over each of those with you for each sign. And some of you are still asking this question. Should you regard the information I'm sharing with you? Should it apply to the sun sign or the ascendant? Your sun sign or your ascendant. If you have your birth chart, you know what your ascendant is. The answer to both of those questions is yes. Yes, I'm writing it for sun signs, but we also know that the ascendant is the strongest point in a personal chart, and it can be, in most cases, it is, has been my experience, stronger than the sun sign. Because it's you and what you present to the world. It's how you are. Very exciting. All right, so. Oh, this is so much clearer. Let me describe where everything is at. First of all, the sun, the giver of life, the center of our solar system, is in Taurus. And we know the Taurian personality type. You put one foot in front of the other, and ultimately the task gets done. You're not in a rush. You do it methodically. I always tease my Taurus friends and say, yes, and you stop for breaks, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks in between to get you through the day. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Of course, I have a Taurus moon. Moving right along here. On the 21st, the sun is going to enter Gemini. Totally different from Taurus, right? Gemini can be a motor mouth. I'm a Gemini. We sure can be motor mouths. That's for sure. And the energy is going, and it's ramped up, and we're busy, and we get bored easily. It's action. It's wonderful. Okay, Venus, the planet of love and beauty and art and sugar, all the good stuff is in Gemini. It has been in Gemini. And Gemini is a double-bodied sign, which means that you can walk and chew gum at the same time. On the 7th of the month, Venus enters Cancer, which is a very nurturing, loving sign. Cancer loves home and family and real estate and all the things that provide emotional security. I think it's quite beautiful. So it starts off, Venus does, in Gemini. If you're single, you could be dating 2 or 3 different people. By the time the sun goes into Cancer, Venus goes into Cancer, you're thinking more of nurturing, nesting, entertaining at home, that type of thing. All right. Mercury is still in Taurus, and yes, it is still retrograde. Okay. On the 14th of May, Mercury goes direct. Now, while Mercury is retrograde, this is the time to tie up all the loose ends that you've let go. Do you notice how easily I said that? Just tie up loose ends. The problem is it's almost like Mercury says, okay, tie up loose ends, and then throws a big jar of marbles on the floor and says, all right, go for it, and you're tripping all over the marbles. It is frustrating because I have noticed, not just in myself, but in my clients, in my students, my friends, you set about, you do a to-do list the night before. You set about getting that list checked off, sort of like a Christmas list. And then the phone rings and you're needed here, or you find that the car, one of your tires is flat, and name it. This is what happens on a retrograde Mercury. So after Mercury goes direct, it moves into the shadow of the retrograde. Now, it's no longer direct, but in the shadow, it feels like it's retrograde. So it might as well be. What I've found is, in my own personal case, I accomplish more when Mercury is in the final shadow. I guess because it's put up or shut up time, you know what I mean? And I do get more done, even though it feels just like Mercury is retrograde. Mercury comes out of the shadow on May 31st. It will be out. It actually comes out of the shadow on the 30th, and by the 31st, which of course is the next day, it is out of the shadow. Hallelujah. Okay. Next planet is Mars. Mars is energy. Mars is what we fight with or fight for, and it is what is number one to us. It is in the sign Cancer. And Cancer, of course, is home and family and real estate. And we know, those of us living in the United States, we know that real estate is a major issue for us now because of the prices of homes. on an even more simpler, more practical level, this can be you going toe to toe with a family member or putting the family member first, because wherever Mars is what is number one to us. So there can be all kinds of arguments or discussions with family members. However, on the 20th of May, Mars enters great, grand, glorious Leo. And the party doesn't start until Leo gets there. And Leo rules fun, it rules creativity, it rules children. Anything that we find fun, that's what Leo is. And so there is a tendency to live life dramatically when Mars is in Leo, and to focus on children because they will insist on it. You might say, I don't have any children. If you have 5 cats, you got 5 kids. You know what I mean? Okay. So Mars is in Leo after the 20th. And it's a passionate place for Mars, because Mars is fire. And of course, Leo is fire of the heart. Beautiful. Jupiter, the great benefic. It's in Aries. Do you know a bunch of people born under the sign of Aries? Jupiter expands the sign that it's in. And Aries says, I'm going my way or the highway. I'm doing what I want, when I want, how I want, because I want. And Jupiter expands that and says, yup, you sure do. And on the 16th of the month, Jupiter moves into Taurus. And Taurus says, I want to relax. Taurus is known for relaxing. I want to relax. I want to enjoy myself. And that's exactly what I'm going to suggest that you do. Now, Jupiter is abundance and Taurus rules money. So I'm hoping that all those scratch-off tickets that you bought bear fruit for you. Okay? Now, as I was working up this report, I noticed that the sun is conjunct Uranus on the 9th of May. Uranus is a rebel. Uranus rules astrology and astrologers, and we are a very strange pack, aren't we? So it brings out the renegade, the rebel in your chart, in you. They are conjunct each other in 18 degrees of Taurus. What do you have in 18 degrees of Taurus? Allow 1 degree orb, okay, maybe 2 degrees. So you feel it 2 days ahead of time and 2 days afterwards. So let's see. All right, from the 7th to the 11th. But by the 11th, it's separating its aspect. And so this is a time in your life, if you have a Sun Uranus conjunction or any planet in 9 degrees, excuse me, I'm sorry, 18 degrees of Taurus. I'm going to blame that one on retrograde Mercury. So let's say the Sun and Uranus are both on your ascendant. Uranus is going to be there for a while, okay? So it's probably been sitting there. But let's say the Sun, all by itself, is sitting on your ascendant. on that day. It can be a very creative, very exciting day, very liberating day for you. Okay. So lots and lots going on. And with Mercury retrograde, I feel like people are running around. It's like a start, stop, start, stop. And so hang in there is what I'm saying. Mercury will go direct this month, of course, on the 14th. And it will immediately, as I mentioned, go into the shadow of the retrograde by the 31st of May. It will have dissipated. Now, later on, after that, within a month, Venus is going to go retrograde. So you want to join me next month when we go into that. But we've got a breather between May 31st and whatever day. I don't have it in front of me, but I will in a month. Venus goes retrograde. And when Venus goes retrograde, it acts just like Mercury. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. You think there's a chance that Venus and Mercury might tag team us? Spoiler alert. Oh boy. Yes, they're going to do it. And I'll tell you all about it, and I'll tell you when it's going to happen, when it's going to end, and all that good stuff. So, till next month, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours. Bye for now.